the stories in the Bible. The Lord came to Abraham when he was sitting at the oaks of Mamre. He sat there in his tent, and the day was hot. And he looked up, and there in front of him were 3 men. They were just standing there, and Abraham got up, and when he saw them, he ran to meet them. He bowed down to them. He said, "O Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, don't keep moving. Come and stay with me. Let a little water be brought to wash your feet. Rest yourself under this tree, and I will care for you. And since you've come to your servant, then you may pass on." They said, "Very well, do as you have said." So Abraham went quickly to the tent of Sarah, and he said, "Quick, 3 seahs of fine flour, knead it and make cakes." And Abraham ran to the herd and took a calf, tender and good, and gave it to the young man who took care of his livestock, and he prepared it quickly. And he took curds and milk from the calf that he had prepared, and he set them all before the 3 men. And they all sat together under the tree. And he was standing there as they ate their food. And they said to him, "Where is Sarah, your wife?" He said, "She is there in the tent." And the Lord said, "I shall surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, shall have a baby boy." Now Sarah was listening in the tent behind them all. And Abraham and Sarah, as you know, were very old. The way of women had ceased to be with Sarah, so Sarah laughed to herself. She said, "Am I worn out so much, and my Lord is old? Shall we have pleasure together?" The Lord said to Abraham, "Why did your wife just laugh in the tent, and saying, 'Shall I indeed bear a child now that I am old?' Tell me this, is there anything that is too hard for our God? At the appointed time, I'll come back to you, this time next year, and Sarah will have a baby boy." But Sarah, she denied it. She said, "I didn't laugh." She was afraid. But the man said, "No, you did laugh." And the men set out from there, and they looked toward the city of Sodom. And Abraham was walking with them to get them on their way. And the Lord said to himself, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? Seeing that Abraham shall become a great and mighty nation on the earth, and all the nations shall be blessed in him. For I have chosen him, that he may command his children and his household to keep the way of the Lord by doing righteousness and justice, so that the Lord may bring to him all that he has promised through Abraham. Therefore I shall not." And the Lord turned to Abraham, and he said, "The outcry of that city Sodom, and Gomorrah also, is so great, their sin is so serious, that I am on my way to go and see if what they have done is so bad, and then I will know." And the men turned and began walking towards Sodom. And Abraham was standing there in front of the Lord and hearing these things. And Abraham walked up to the Lord, and he said, "Sir, will you indeed sweep away all the good people along with all the bad people? What if there were 50 people in that city? Would you sweep them away and not spare the city for the sake of those 50 good people? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to kill the righteous and the wicked altogether at once. Far be from that from you. Shall not the judge of all the world do what is right?" The Lord said, "Very well. If I find 50 righteous people in that city, then I will spare the whole place for their sake." And he began to walk on. But Abraham stopped him, and he said, "Behold, I have already spoken to you about this, and I am a mere mortal. I am nothing but dust and ashes. But let's just say that it's a little bit less than 50. Let's say 5. Let's say there are 45 men in there who are good. Would you destroy the whole city if 45 good men were there?" And the Lord said, "I will not destroy it if I find 45 men." But Abraham continued talking, and he said, "What if there were 40? What if 40 men were found there?" The Lord answered, "Even for the sake of 40, I will not destroy it." But Abraham said to the Lord, "Please don't be angry with me. But what if there were only 30 good men?" The Lord said, "I will not do it if I find 30. But Abraham said, "Look, I have been so bold to speak to you, but what if there are 20 men in that city? Would you destroy the city if there were 20 good men in that city?" And the Lord said, "Even for the sake of 20 men, I will not destroy the city." And Abraham said, "Please, don't be angry with me. Let me speak to you one more time. If there are only 10 men, will you destroy the city, the whole city, or would you spare it if there were 10 good men in that city?" And the Lord said, "For the sake of 10 men, I will spare the city." And the Lord continued on when he had finished speaking this conversation, and Abraham, satisfied, returned back to his camp.